This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. And this is a book, honestly, I was waiting a long time for it to release, and that was fully because, at least in audiobook form, because I do know I've read this book at least one time before, although I didn't remember it super well. And this was a book that I was already going to be reading this, but also I get the fun to discuss this book in just a little bit over a week in my Star Wars book club, so I really am excited. And at least just going in on it, Dark Lord it was just such an enjoyable book. I think, as you can tell, especially me going by the name of Lord Emperor Vader and also using Vader very heavily in my channel's imagery, that Darth Vader slash Anakin Skywalker is my favorite character in fiction. And it was just super compelling to read this book about his early days. Although this book is really good, it hits its peak when it just first introduces Vader, and you get this absolutely haunting speech about how his life is just absolutely miserable and how everything isn't truly life, as he goes like how this is now walking or breathing or living, and just talking about how awful the cybernetic implants he got were affecting him. But yeah, honestly, just super interesting, and it was just such a well written part of the book. Obviously, this is James Luceno, so I had very high expectations, especially after just basically every other book I've read from him being a masterpiece. And this book just did not let it down. It is truly incredible, and you can just really pick any novel you want from Luceno, and you get a guaranteed great Star Wars book. So here he has a super compelling story where it focuses on just a bunch of different characters, mainly Vader and a single Jedi. And our Jedi protagonist is honestly a really great character. He is questioning everything with the Order, and especially after the Jedi have been taken out, he just doesn't feel like he should be a Jedi anymore. And ultimately, he does realize to be a Jedi and gives his life to protect the lives of some other Jedi. And honestly, I also really love that little scene where Vader, at the end of this guy's life, decides to gloat and tell him who he really is, how he betrayed the Jedi, and just the absolute uh, destruction that he caused. Just a truly great scene, and then just continuing through it, it's interesting to see as Vader really has to adapt to his suit through this, where the first fight he is very slow and clunky and basically has to figure out how to fight in this new body and how he has mastered it by the end. To talk about something like that, because I have some at least early thoughts from some of the other people in this book club, that there's the fact that Palpatine doesn't care too much about the Jedi, and really do understand about that. I think it does make sense because he's destroyed the Order, and he knows that really the only threat to him would have been Yoda, and he was able to defeat Yoda in combat, so he really has nothing to fear from the individual Jedi, and there aren't too many left in the galaxy, so they would never be able to come after him, and none of them besides Obi-Wan and Yoda know that he is a Sith Lord, so any Jedi that attack him will get surprised their lives when he reveals he's a Sith Lord and kills them. So I think it does make sense. And just going through this, honestly, it's just such a great story. It is really interesting to see, and there's all these interesting things, including that one with the where they go to rescue the senator, but Vader just so happens to be there because Palpatine senses the Jedi will be coming and basically wants to feed into Vader's bloodlust. And just throughout it, it's just real interesting as Vader sort of realizes the same thing as his master that yeah, it's the Jedi aren't the hugest threat now because they're just basically have been shattered, and there's really nothing they could do against him. And that is ultimately true because no Jedi was able to beat him in a fight. It was only reason he lost was it was his son, and Vader was holding back, and his son fully gave into really everything. Yeah, there's a few things that come out after this book, like Force Unleashed, where he gets defeated by Starkiller. Although, he is able to get out of that in an unknown way because, well, that third game never came out. But it is honestly just super interesting. I really enjoyed what they did, and Vader definitely feels like a beast in this as he's just really learning to figure everything out and adapt to this new life. And also just basically put all this blame on himself as Palpatine just perfectly manipulates him. And there's so many other great things. You also get some interesting stuff from characters like Bail Organa, who's basically trying to keep Leia safe and debating on how much he should do against the Empire so he doesn't endanger Leia, and even has a close conversation between Leia and Vader where he's extremely terrified that Vader would be able to figure out that this is his daughter. But then just going through really the rest of the story, there's just so many other great moments. One of the best is probably the final moment where Obi-Wan is on Tatooine and he's basically just regretting everything that happened with Anakin, thinking he's dead. And then he sees information about the final battle where Darth Vader comes in and executes all of the Jedi that are on the planet. And he's like, "Oh, wait, what did they just say this guy's name was?" And he's just having this absolute massive panic attack, which is just a really great scene. I couldn't remember which book that one was from, but I did remember that it was in one of the books in the EU. I just couldn't remember which one. I first thought it was a Kenobi book, but when I read that book, it wasn't there. I was trying to figure out which one it was, and it turned out to be this one, which was just a super great little moment in there. But yeah, honestly, such a compelling story. I really enjoyed reading through it. And, well, obviously, as I said, it's written by James Luceno, so it's written well, but just super compelling and just a really great time that I had reading it. Got through it in just a few days, and that was because it was actually a really good book, and well, also because it was an audiobook, so I was able to get through it a lot faster. But yes, super compelling story. And then another interesting thing with this was the fact that the Jedi had to learn to step down from the Order and get rid of their identities as Jedi and find other ways to help, and that them going together as Jedi was going to cause just major problems. So yeah, honestly, that was pretty interesting. And we see, I think it's like 5 or 6 Jedi who survived Order 66 at the end who basically all realize this. And Obi-Wan even comments on this that they have to go into hiding. They can't group together because none of them are powerful enough to go up against the Emperor. But yeah, that's just a really just interesting story of this where it does go into the attachments and the fact that the attachment to the Order was a major problem to them. So yeah, honestly, super, super great story, and I definitely want to know what you think. So let me know in the comments. And I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Unless you're someone from the book club, because I'll definitely talk to you directly about that. Because I know someone checked out that last time because they were very worried about my review of Splinter before well, when they finished the book, then they started to see my point of view. So, I know they're not done with this book yet, so they definitely probably should have checked this out, but I'll give them that warning myself. Also, that I'm going to get shouted here. So, see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.